Hey,
Can you hear me now?
there we go. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. So I guess we'll get started. Thanks everyone for coming. We talking about you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me close this. Okay, make it bigger. Okay, so we're gonna give like a quick overview of Arium and then kind of do a little tutorial. Maybe make it a little bit interactive. What Arium is a web-based tool for artists to create engaging virtual exhibitions which bring story and context to their work and connect with their communities in a shared social experience. And I think first we'll talk about ourselves a little bit and how we got to creating Arium and like the story behind it. Aiden, if you wanted to talk about your work in the past.
Sure, yeah. So my name's Aiden. Good evening, good night, wherever time zone you're on. I'm in New York, and I've been for most of my professional life working in the theater in various contexts. And so that's been as a performer, as a director, and as a technical producer. So some of the projects that shown here include on the right is a theater project that took place in New York, right, just about 2 months before the pandemic. The last big one I got to work on. And then on the left, a couple other projects I've been involved in. One of which is a creative coding framework called P5JS, in which I rewrote the camera library to allow a different set of controls. And the other of which is a project that was about engaging people in public data sets through kind of playful explorations. That's me.
Yeah, so a bit about me. Before working on Arium, so I was a creative technologist programmer for a while. So at the top left, you can see a project that I made where I built basically for a major fitness studio a gamified spinning class, which would aggregate all the bike data and stream it onto a screen and get everyone to perform and compete basically through visualizations. On the top right is a project called PoseNet, which I worked with researchers at Google to open source a machine learning library that could estimate pose data from any kind of image, skeletal tracking from any image or video, and that's allows a wide array of creative applications from motion activated installations to a bunch of things, and that's become widely used in the creative coding community. At the bottom left is work that I started doing at grad school where I got really into live performance. And that was the bottom left is a project I did where I used the colors of liquids to modulate sounds, characteristics of liquids. So I basically had a bunch of cameras pointed to these jars of liquids that were using computer vision techniques to detect characteristics of these liquids and modulate sounds. And it was a performance in front of an audience. And then on the bottom right is my thesis project, which was a performance in the real world. It was called the self-driving human, where I created a intelligent device that would instruct me on how to interact with people on the street and what to say to them. And it was basically about like how far can technology push us to do things that we're very uncomfortable with, because I hate talking to strangers. So this is basically, I walked around New York City. This is pre-COVID. It'd be different now with everyone wearing masks. But I got really into like the idea of live performance, connecting with people.
Yeah, so
yeah, you can talk. Yeah.
in March of last year, Dan and I were working as researchers at a grad program for artists and technologists. And this is a program that relied on like a vibrant and messy group working space, like a shared physical environment to support a culture of sharing, of experimentation, of collaboration, of spending long nights working together in the shared environment. And at the end of each semester in particular, we host an open house for hundreds of students to meet and share their work with people from New York's media arts scene. And so when we found ourselves disconnected last March, despite that we were on every possible platform to connect, Discord, Slack, Zoom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we were looking for ways to capture the excitement and the engagement of exhibitions online. And if you go to the next slide, what I came up with is a browser-based environment with a three-dimensional navigable environment and video chat built in. So this allows people to communicate with one another directly using their webcam audio and video in a shared quote-unquote physical space. And if you go to the next slide, the kind of core mechanics of this are that there is a 3D rendered environment, that there's positional audio, and that there's fully customizable and collaborative space editing, meaning that you can actually from the start you can be able to edit things, see those changes live, and have multiple people editing the same space. And now this is just a video from one of our very earliest events.
Yeah, so this is basically an event we created for our cohort of residents where it was a mix of both live performance, videos on the walls, and a DJ set at the end. And we kind of supported a array of like live programming tools, including live streaming, like a 3D live streaming service, being able to change the space actually live during the event. So removing the ceiling, streaming high quality videos. And this is kind of just like a quick, can you guys hear the audio?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
If Anthony...
Not really.
Okay. Let me stop sharing and share again. 1 second. It doesn't let me share audio. Okay, that's fine.
If you want, you can share the link on the chat, and then people can give like whatever the length of the video is, and we can see it.
Okay, yeah. Let me just get it quickly. 1 second. Let me share my screen anyways, and then people can watch it.
Yeah, I think it's okay if you voice over this video.
Yeah, it's fine. There doesn't need to be audio. That's fine. So here there's people talking, and one of the things, you only hear the people next to you, so you can have a large event, and people can naturally cluster into smaller groups. And his is a performance where someone was doing a modular synthesizer performance linked to weather patterns and was controlling everything live. This is like a wide format live stream video that was, I think, about like 22 by like a very, I forgot what that actual aspect ratio was. And this is like at the end, a DJ was like streaming, and everyone was hanging out here and like dancing till like really late at night. And we when this happened, we knew we had something really special, because like traditionally the Zoom party, like everyone leaves after 30 minutes, but here everyone just stayed for a really long time. And and then after this, basically a bunch of people asked us to create spaces like this for them. So fast forward to, we did a bunch of events, and then through connections got introduced to the crypto art space, which we kind of had no idea about. We found that actually the format of this kind of space is really suitable for the crypto art community, which is naturally globally distributed. It's very much about engaging with your community and connecting with each other and sharing work and collaborating. So this is a video of a space that we built with Mokta and Cambia Auction House. And this was like really amazing, because there was like a way to present 18 different artists together in a space. The space was really interesting because it was circular. You can check this out. We'll send links later. But it's a circular design, which is really nice because it's infinite in a way, and there's no exiting. And there wasn't like that much to the space itself, except very minimal design. But you could do a lot with just a very simple design. And it was really cool because we were actually walking up to each of the art pieces, and each artist and the curator was able to talk about the work. And you kind of felt a new connection with both the artist and the work itself. And it was also really cool to be in the same virtual space with a bunch of Italian artists that are like really amazing. And yeah, so you can, I mean, just like you could see, yeah, like in front of you could basically walk in front of each painting, each video, and hear about it from both the curator and the artists themselves. This is a space that we built with Museum of Crypto Art, and it was an architecture designed by Untitled XYZ. We basically did a curatorial talk with Noah Davis of Christie's, Shivani of Mocha, and Eleanor Briza, who is the curator. And this is for a drop with Hackatow for a recreation of Hack of a Bear, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. Hack of a Bear was it was based on a bear drawing from Leonardo da Vinci that was recently uncovered. And we basically built a space and had a event for all the collectors to come to and all the fans. And another cool thing we did, which you can't see here, is we actually integrated live auction data from Super Rare. So that was kind of like, as people were bidding, that was like refreshing live in the space. So we have that ability right now. We want to eventually integrate with more marketplaces. And this is a space that we built ourselves, and we placed all the artwork. We'll talk a little bit more later about how these spaces are built. This is a very exciting use of our platform for us. This is basically Pupilla De La Ta, which I'm sure some of you saw. I saw some of you saw in the chat. These spaces were created completely by Pupilla De La Ta team, which is a group of Brazilian crypto artists. It was a psychedelic crypto art show. They created 5 different spaces. One of them was for performance. They all had different themes, and they all did this collaboratively. And they were all in here for like weeks building the space. And we were like really excited to see this, because this is how we envision the platform really being used to its potential. And then at the end of the night, they basically, you can't hear, but they had a live VJ VJing on the screen, and they had someone playing music live, and it was like really cool again to be in a space with all these Brazilian crypto artists who I imagine had been locked down and are so it was like we're bringing them all together into this space that was built by them. And the music was great. The visuals are really cool. The visuals are done just not using live streaming. This is done just with a regular screen share, which we support. You can drop a screen share anywhere. And the VJ or the music player is the guy sitting on the eye, silo samples, and that we have a functionality called a broadcast zone, which means that if you are on there, everyone can hear you. So like we never thought it would be used for playing music. We meant it be using for doing talks, but they were playing music there. So yeah, I think that's kind of a very fast overview of Ariums so far. There's a lot more use cases. I can send links later. Maybe we can make this section more interactive. Aiden, you wanted to say something, or?
Yeah, just that. I think there's a lot of things we can go over in terms of the next part of the workshop. But we'd love to know a little bit about you all and what brought you to this residency and what excites you about the metaverse, and if there's anything in particular, like quickly, maybe 30 seconds each, we could just hear from some of you. Anyone who feels comfortable. You can also post it in the chat if you prefer.
Hi everyone, this is Ryan. I can just chime in really quickly here.
Hey.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, guys. I love the project. Just a little bit about my beliefs about the metaverse is I think that it's an excellent tool that can be used to bridge the digital and physical worlds. And just to build on that, I think that it's the ability for us to utilize the technology to, I'd say, enhance our experiences in the physical world by maybe one instance could be like networking, building, speaking to people we probably wouldn't maybe meet or talk to in the real world, but then bridge that gap by forming a relationship in the metaverse that could possibly be used in the real world. So I personally met many people in Clubhouse and then have actually met them in the physical world, and I'm now working with them as business partners. So I think it's an incredible way to meet.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, it's a great way to connect with. Yeah, interesting. Like bridging relationships from both worlds, meet new people. Yeah.
Hello, my name
Hey.
is Murat. I'm a tattoo artist, basically my main profession, but I do tattoos with code. Then I start doing interactive things, and I'm experimenting with WebGL and that kind of stuff. I'm excited about metaverse building because there are no limitations which exist on real world. Like you can build whatever you want, and you can show people your vision. So this is why I find it exciting.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things that excites us a lot about being able to work within this environment, because it brings up all these questions about if anything is possible, like what reality do you want to bring to the people that you're actually working with and creating spaces for.
Hello everyone. I am really excited about the architecture. Like I am an architect.
Kagir, we can hear you really, really low. If you can
okay.
either go next to your mic or speak a little bit louder. Sorry.
Okay, then I write on the chat.
No, we can hear you. But just,
okay.
yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
Okay. I am excited about the architecture, like architectural possibilities, because I'm an architect, and like in a metaverse and VR environments, like everything is possible, and you can make a new architecture, like without a gravity, everything changes, and there's infinite possibilities of doing architecture as an art piece. Like the metaverse can be an art piece, and that excites me.
Absolutely. I think that actually is a new thing that hasn't really been explored yet. Yeah, like architecture as art is a really interesting concept. And yeah, I mean, playing with gravity and physics, like you can completely like reinvent a new a paradigm for physics. So that's also a really exciting thing to think about.
Like for example, everything shouldn't be like X and Y direction. Like you can build 3D, like the room. We don't restrict it by the gravity, and there's a like architecture in the world is generally where we live is in a 2D space. Like we must stand on the ground, but in metaverse, it's 3D and it opens a lot of possibilities.
For sure.
I can continue. Hi everyone.
Hello.
We are MabLab. Sorry, all of a sudden I'm nervous, but yeah, we're MabLab. We're two sisters. And interestingly enough, we are. I can hear my echo. Well, one sister is an architect with like extensive academic background in architecture, and another sister is coming from performance and photography background. Performance meaning like classical dance and ballet, and then photography. And mostly our work is built around my sister's master thesis in architecture. And like what we absolutely agree with everything that was said above, but for us, like I will probably focus on like personal interest. So for us personally, would be interesting because the main body of our work is architectural interface actually and 3D models. So for us, will be interesting to experience like our architectural spaces in the metaverse, like because our main work is architectural interface, interstitial spaces, sculptures, and we would love to see like the representation of our work in the metaverse, like almost like feel it and like to like feel this space, not just like see it on 2D screen, but to sort of be able to like like dive in it. But like yeah, that's actually what is interesting to us personally, at least. And of course, like connecting to the community and like extending the reach and everything else. Yeah, but that was our personal interest. Yeah, sorry, I'm nervous.
No,
Okay.
that's fantastic. I think, there's so much to. I think you touched on a few really interesting points. I think the idea of, the difference between, especially when we're talking about architecture or 3D modeling or anything like that, the difference between seeing a render of something, even the fantastic render, and actually being able to experience it firsthand and being able to experience it firsthand with other people is, just a different approach, and it encourages a different type of looking and a different type of engaging with the work. And it's, sometimes some things probably deserve to be in a render, and other things really demand bringing together a community and being able to, you mentioned performance as part of this process. So, maybe having performance within this architecture. I think there's just so many possibilities there. Thank you for your comment.
I have a few comments on the chat. I'm just going to read them out. So Andrea says, as an architect, I think the possibility for non-architects to transform space and see what happens, like a kind of social experiment. This is kind of cool. I agree with that. And Warag says, I'm excited about the metaverse as I have background in architecture and have been doing 3D, and now I try to express myself freely without physical restraints. I love digital creation as you can be more experimental in the space.
Yeah, thank you both. I think to that second point, I mean, we've heard it a lot, but the idea of being free of constraints, it can be intimidating to not have any physical constraints. And so I think finding what are the points of reference that you want to bring into your world, and what are the points of reference that you want your audience, whatever audience that is, to be able to latch onto as they enter your space, I think is really important.
There's also Walt that says, I'm most excited just talking and seeing other people instead of just typing like in chats, Twitter, and getting creative building environments in VR. I would like to build a space for my artworks that would tie the artworks and the gallery space together.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, Arium's really great for that. And anything else? Anyone else?
There's a few people typing, but I'll just read them out when it is, and yeah, feel free to keep going.
Okay, so we have a bunch of right now. Arium's kind of like by invite only, because it's kind of like it's not. We want it to be for everyone, but the user interface right now is not at a place that everyone can use. It requires it's a bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it, it's really, really powerful. And we're still early, so but we've created invites, like a list of invites, and anyone who wants can like accept an invite now, or they can just like follow along, and we'll leave like the spreadsheet available for Vertical Crypto Art Residency, and if people want an invite to join later, they can. So you can either follow along in this tutorial or at your own pace. I want to drop the link to the Google Sheet in the chat. So what chat should I do it in?
Feel free to do it in the Residency artist chat. So
Okay.
for anyone who's on a laptop and wants to go for it now, they can do so.
So yeah, just put your name, if you claim an invite, put your name next to the, so that someone else doesn't claim it. And with his invite, you can create 3 spaces. Each space can have 25 people in it. And you can connect the space together with portals, which is really cool. Which is what Pupilla did.
Amazing. This is
So
awesome. So much.
yeah. So like if all of you could like create spaces and link them to each other. So anyways,
Dan, one thing quickly. Can you make the
yeah, sure, yeah,
available so
Yeah,
I can edit?
sure. Yeah, one second. Sure. Anyone can edit. Okay. So now you should all be able to, you should all be able to add your names to the list. Okay, so let me just create. So basically, copy link address or people filling. Okay, so so basically, the you follow this link. It asks you to yeah. There's like a kind of a bug here for me, but basically, one second. I hate when this. So basically, what's going to happen is, let me actually just do a new one. Hold on. Let me log out, and I'll just create a new one.
Dan, I have it all queued up if you want me to go through that first flow. And you can voice over? Whichever you
sure.
prefer.
What? Let me do it. Let me just create it again. Let me do it again. 1 second. I got it. I think it'll be easier.
Yeah.
1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Actually, I'll just put my name here. Just 1 second. It just took a bug because I've created so many spaces. So basically, you would go through here. Oh, let me just create another one. 1 second. Use a different one. Okay, so you get into here. You'd sign up with. Okay, so let me make this narrower so the view isn't screwed up. This is messed up right now. Basically, you can choose like a space to start out with. For the purpose of the tutorial, I would choose like an empty space. And then it'll ask for like the space ID, which is going to be the URL. So I'm going to do like Dan space or something here. I'm going to create this space. Oh, it's already been taken. So then the space has been created. Creating it. Okay, and this is my space URL. I'll go visit it. You can block camera access, it's fine. And then basically, if you click edit this space, there's some things that come here. Right now, there's like only a few options available in space editor. So I'll just show you, there's like an advanced editor, and this is basically like where all our current editor exists. It's unfortunately in a separate window. We're moving it all eventually into the integrated editor. But basically, you would right click here. You could do open in new tab, and this is basically the content tree. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a model. Actually, let me share another thing to the chat. I have some sample content people can work with. I'm going to share a Dropbox link. 1 second. This is like some assets people can use to just like mess around with something. So I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to paste it into Discord. 1 second. So this is going to have some assets people can use if they want. So in that folder, there is so I'm going to add a 3D model here. And I'm going to add, Oh, so right now we only accept GLB files. And the reason why we accept GLB files is it can be really compressed. You can include materials in them, physically based materials, which I have another video on, which I'll post a link on. It's another video on how to actually create the 3D models, which we use Blender. You can use the other programs that basically accept GLB model format. I'm actually going to drop it into here. You'll see it. It's just uploading the model right now. These are all the different kind of elements you can add. And I'll go through some of them. So here's this 3D model that I've uploaded. This is like the original version. This is the like any version with modifications. So for example, I could override the material in the model if I wanted to, and like replace it with a texture, for example. So if I disable this, this will like make the whole model like use this texture. So this is like the original file. This is the file with modifications. I'm going to turn that off for now. So if I bundle it again, let me actually say, I guess it did an update in here. Yeah, so it I just disabled bundling the material in the model on the model file. So now if I go here, you'll see that I'm in this 3D model that I just uploaded. And you could do things if you hit T in here, back in the space editor, you can click on the element, you can scale it. And what's cool is like if you have multiple people in here, you'll see this all being transformed in real time. So you can have like multiple people working on the same space editing it. These are all like the transfer controls. You can rotate it and do everything. This model has certain characteristics. So for example, it knows, number one, where the floor is. So it knows that like this is like a floor element, and it knows that these are walls. And there's ways to tag the 3D model, different meshes of the 3D model with those properties. So that you see this also has like transparency. This has some like roughness maps, which is a physically based material, which is like reflecting a light in an interesting way. If you look closely here, you can't see here, but it's like a brush metal material. You can see some like, for people that are familiar with physically based materials, you can see some kind of like light characteristics on this wall, like a plaster wall. But you would do this all typically in your 3D modeling program. And if you bundle the material in the GLB file, it'll all load into here naturally. For people that are wondering what Arium is built on, it's built on top of 3JS. And particularly, we built it using, it's a React 3 fiber application. That's how we can kind of do everything in real time. So this is like my 3D model. It should be showing shadows. I'm not sure why it's not. Let me turn it off and on. Yeah, okay. For some reason, so another cool thing is like you can see there's like a sunlight that's casting a shadow. All the lighting is completely controllable. So I wish I could have like a bigger enough monitor to show you both next to it. So basically like I can have like a sunlight that's in the distance. And if I enable show helper, that'll actually show it in the distance. You can like move it around. Let's say move it up higher or lower. Then you see the thing move lower and it's casting like a longer shadow. The more lights with shadows you have, the slower this is going to run for everyone. So you want to kind of minimize that to maybe 1 or 2 lights with a shadow. So basically any kind of physically based material you can make in Blender, which this isn't really a workshop on that, you could do here. Cool. The next thing I'm going to show you is you can add what's called a terrain. And this is, I think, so people asked in the thing in Hack of a Bear how the mountain range was created. So that was done. And I'm going to actually show you how you can make like a lake like this in a mountain range. So the mountain range is actually built using a height map. And this is a really cool feature that we have. And the way that works is you can upload any, I can add a terrain. And you can upload any grayscale image, and it'll turn it into like a 3D height map. So this is like the original image, and this is it's reading the grayscale value. So like you could go into Photoshop and like draw on this and like create a custom thing. So let's say I want to do like a volcano. I can go into here and like this will be like a, well, actually this isn't that visible, but I could actually change the max height here to 60. And now I have like a more steep kind of thing. I can make it wider, like 100 by 100. And then you can see there's like a kind of volcano here. Then I can like drop a texture on it. So this is the texture here. And now I have like a volcano with a texture, which is kind of cool. Now I'm going to save this so that it gets added to the scene. Wrong. Let me close this one. So you can kind of see it there in the distance. It's kind of small. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Let me make it smaller so we can see it in a smaller thing. So I could scale everything here by 2. Now you can just see this like small terrain. I think this terrain is good for this environment. I'm going to use more of the one that I did before, so I can choose a previous one. It's like a more of a flat terrain. Let me just reload this. Yeah, but I'll make it shorter so it's not as just like a very mild terrain. And then I can make it really big. Let me just scale it to be. Let me actually. I probably can transform it if I click on it. Let's see. If I hit T. The terrains can be hard to select. Let me make it a lot smaller. Sorry. Do people have any questions so far?
Yeah, I have one question. So is
Yes.
this ground, like, is it automatic? So, or we should go and check this is ground, like.
It's automatically becomes a ground. But we're gonna eventually allow people to change the physics settings, because we're gonna eventually have like a new kind of physics engine. Let me make it actually go further down.
I have a question. Can we change
Yes.
the HDR image? HDR.
Yeah, so right now, yes, so we have a few that are preset, and we're going to allow people to upload new ones eventually. That's like in our near-term to-do list, to allow you to basically, you can upload both the HDR image and also an environment map. So if I turn on this like environment mapping from Skybox, you can actually see, you should be able to see the environment. You can kind of see the environment reflected on the floor here, this clouds. Let me actually, I can make the model reflect it more. Yes, we do have in the very near term future, allowing people to upload that. That's like in our near term to-do list.
Thank you.
Do we have to like choose the space right now to claim the place, or because it's been like,
The URL you're asking?
Yeah, because it's suddenly, I don't know. I mean, I tried a couple of times, but like, I sort of log in, and then next time it sort of kicks me out of it, and that's interesting. And now it says, "We're sorry, but it appears you do not have the access to any spaces to edit." Blah blah blah. So,
yeah. So that workflow. Thanks for bringing that bug to our attention. I think if you go back to
so I finally chose the other URL for the invite, and I'm scared to log out or close the window because I'm afraid it will show me that I cannot do anything again.
Yeah, if you go to that's good feedback. We need to fix this whole flow. If you go to that URL that I pasted in the chat, you might be able to so yeah, you can go to that URL and you should be able to create a new space if you've already logged in.
Yes, I am logged in and I just checked the URL and I'm there again. And do I have to claim the space now, like to select the space? Or I can do it later and I have like the space now, but I have the access at least.
Yeah, I think so. We don't currently support changing the space URL, but that's in our near-term list to do. We've been asked for that many times. So unfortunately, right now you kind of have to choose the URL first, but we're gonna in the near term allow you to change it.
Okay, so I have to choose the space right now.
Currently, but if you message us, we can always change it for you on the back end later.
And let me can I mention one thing really quickly, which is just that Dan and I will after this workshop, we'll stick around this Discord server, and you can always ping us if you have questions about the invite or about the actual like getting up and running with your space. So if something's not working now, but you want to just follow along and watch the workshop, then we can always debug things later.
Yeah, because I chose the invite and then someone else jumped into it and it typed the name over it and yeah, so I'm like a bit
Well, we can add more. We'll add more here, Aiden. Yeah, we can add more here. Or we can also email you. If you give us your email, we can email you a new link too.
yeah, that would be cool. Thank you.
Someone asked a question about collision mesh. So yes, so basically you can add a separate collision mesh if you want to. If you go to like this space, for example, we had issues in this space where we use the actual. This is the Canby space. The Canby walls were like a pretty accurate circle, I would say, and we didn't want to make that low poly. But what we did is we actually added a hidden collision mesh. And the way we make it hidden, which is a very low poly version of this circle, is by tagging it and with special properties called invisible and collidable. So in Blender, basically, you can add a special property, and we have documentation on that, which we'll send. So if you mark it as invisible, it won't be visible, and if you mark it as collidable, it's marked as a collision mesh. Yeah, so okay, people are having a hard time creating spaces, unfortunately.
Dan, I'll just I can debug a little bit in chat for the next 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
If you want to keep going, I was just quickly going to say that for those of, I think what happened is a bunch of people clicked on the same invite links, and so not all of them ended up working. So what we'll do is we'll create some extra invite links after this workshop is done, and we'll send them to each of you individually so we can make sure that you get onboarded.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Exactly what happened.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. One quick question. I know you're trying to move forward, but is it emulating everything you guys are doing? Because the one that I just started, I haven't done anything, but it's slowly building the same things you are doing. So is that just emulating the same thing you're doing live right now?
It's not supposed to be. Okay. That's weird.
Yeah, like when you brought in the mountains and the building, like I have that. I couldn't even load assets. So. But anyways, it's fine. I just want to follow along.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. That's weird. Yeah, okay, that's strange. Yeah, I haven't seen that happen before. We'll have to look into that one.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, sorry about that. We need to make that better. There's no hard limit for polygon. It's up to you. Like you have to really be conscious of the performance on people's computers. Eventually, we're going to have a level of detail functionality where you can have like different levels of detail. Like if you get closer, we don't have that right now, but that's in the plans. So another thing, let me close this so I stop making sound. And then another thing you can do is add what's called a reflector surface. So this is basically like a mirror. And I'm going to show you how this can be actually turned into a lake. Let's see where it is. So you see this, there's like a mirror. So I can see myself. Hold on, let me move it down here. I can see myself. And then what I could do is I can actually turn it into like a floor by rotating it. And then make it like huge. And then it can become like a lake. And that's kind of how we did the floor in Canby Dystopia Visions. So right now I'm going through it. And I'm going to actually make it as ground. And now when I walk in it, it's a floor. Now some cool ideas you have for the future is if you have a physics engine, like you can make it so like it's like a lake and you glide like an ice lake and you glide across it. So I can now move this onto the floor and now I have like a little installation on the lake in the mountain range. The next thing I'm going to show you is like art placements. So currently we don't have wallet integration, but it is in our near-term future. We want to integrate with like Hicketnook and OpenSea, so you can basically pull your NFTs from there. So I can add, let's say, an image to a wall here. And then I would upload, I don't know, let's say this image from here. And now it's here. And I'm going to move it out a little bit so it's not colliding with the wall. And then a cool thing I can do, which we don't have in the in-space editor right now, I can go find that image and I can give it a frame, like a backing. So I can click has frame. I can give that frame a color. And I can give it like a little bit of a border. And now you can see this like thing has a border to it. Another thing I can do is I can make it what's called interactable. So I can make it so that when you click on it, it'll like open a detail thing, a detail modal. So, and then I can add any text. So like, and links in here. So this is a link. This is a bit about this work. Now, when I click on it, it'll open this, but you can also have it show, a common thing to do is, oh yeah, fog setting in the environment. Yeah, so if you go to, there's environment. Oh yeah, so this is basically like, you can enable a fog and you can choose the color and then you're in the far. Another thing, you can choose where people spawn. So this is like their origin and this is where they look at. And the way you know where you are is if you press P, it'll show you your position and your look at. So now I'm looking here, and you can also see where your cursor is in case you ever need to know. So it's like your position, this is where you're looking at. You press P to close. Yeah, so if I enable a fog, like now you'll see that, let me make the fog like, I don't know, smaller so you can see it. I can make it like a dark fog. Yeah, then you can see like things get fog in the distance. Another thing, a common to do is like, a lot of NFTs are like 4K or 8K images. You don't necessarily want to show that in a space. So generally, what you do is show like a smaller resolution image, and then in this image, you can make the interactable show like another image in higher resolution. So like if I show self, then it's just going to show this thing here, and you can make a full screen, which is cool. Or you can like drop another image that's like, I don't know, let's see. I can have it open a video, for example. Actually, let me show an image because it's going to be faster to upload. Let's see, downloads. I don't know, this thing, image from Crypto Voxels. So now when I click this, it'll show this image. So a common thing, so we have a plan to actually generate this all based on like an NFT. It's not there yet. Right now it's all really manual, so it can be a little bit cumbersome. But we definitely have a plan to like just log on with your wallet and it'll generate all this stuff, and even like resize the in-space images to be like more performant. One of the things you'll see in a lot of like metaverses is that they get really slow when people have a bunch of images loaded, because it's loading the high resolution image and video everywhere, and you don't really need to see that in this space because it's not going to be that resolution. Next thing I'm going to show you is video, and we have a bunch of really cool controls here. So if I add a video here, let me drop a video here of well, cool thing we have, I think the video only plays when you look at it, which is really important because you have a bunch of videos in a space and they're all playing at the same time. It's going to run really slowly. So you have like, yeah, basically it'll only play when you're looking at it. And you have a bunch of controls there. So you can control how far the user must be for it to play. So if you have like a really big space, that's how far it's going to play. This is like the invisible plane that if you're looking at. Sorry, it's playing the sound here, so I have a hard time hearing. And then you can also choose a different thumbnail for when it's not playing. So let's say, yeah, you can choose a different thumbnail for when it's not playing. You can also have it just autoplay, which means it's going to play for everyone. And this is a really cool feature, sync video timeline for all users. So what this means is that when if multiple people join the space at the same time, they'll be seeing the video at different times. I'll be seeing the video from the same position. So like if you have like a 20-minute video and you want to make sure everyone's seeing it at the same time, if you toggle that to on, then it'll sync the position for everyone. You can also choose the positional audio settings, how far the audio plays and how much it rolls off. And there's a whole equation to this, but basically like reference distance is how far in meters the audio will play, and this is a factor that it peters off. So basically when you get closer to the video, it'll be louder. And those are the settings to control, the positional audio settings. There's another really cool feature I'm going to show you. You can basically break a video into multiple surfaces. So let's say I crop this video down. You see it's only half of it here. But then I can add another play surface here and crop it to like this half and rotate it, let's say 90 degrees. And I can like move it. Yeah, like so now you can have a video broken into multiple services. So you can have like a 3D projection in a way. And actually show you that in action in a really cool space. This is my, like, just has a bunch of my NFTs. Oh, also you can make any GLB animated by checking I'm going to show you, this is a really cool feature. Sorry. That's like the editor demo elements. So if I go to that, where's the model that I'm looking for? Rotating cubes. Another thing I'm forgetting is you can load any element from IPFS by pasting in the URL here. We've actually, this is like a Hickett Dunk NFT. And thing here called animated true. You can actually change the animation speed, which is really cool. So you can like slow it down. And then it's gonna like rotate really slowly. And you can even do that live during an event, you can rotate it really slowly.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can we, like, if we have a GLB NFT on Hickett Dunk, like,
Yeah.
can we fetch it, display it
Yeah, you just need to get the IPFS URL and literally just like paste it into here. This is loaded directly from Hickett Dunk.
Thank you.
This one too. This is one that I have. It's loading.
Aiden,
This
can
is
I
like,
ask a question?
yes.
You support Airwave as well, other than IPFS?
Not currently, but I'll look into that.
Okay.
This is loaded from IPFS. This is an amazing NFT that actually I can turn it on and I'll show it to you in here. I can like walk inside of this. Let me turn on his ground. It is ground. Let me move it down. It doesn't show me logged in here. So
can we upload to your servers, or we need?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you just don't have to be an IPFS. Like I just showed. Oh yeah, the thing I wanted to show quickly was this is a Leah something Genesis piece on Hickett Dunk, which I was very glad to get when it first came out. But I took a single video here and I made multiple. I turned it into like a cube that you can go inside. And you can see that video if I go to. You can see that. delete a video. Where is it? You can see there's like 4 different play surfaces here. So I just took the single video and I drew it 4 times. Yeah. So another cool thing that you could do is, so if you like, if I go to, we built this for Pupilla. Pupilla, basically they had an issue that like the elevators were like not synced between people. So they have this like I elevator, and the issue was like the elevator was not actually synced between people. So like some people would like be going up the elevator, but it would be like they're flying. So we actually have the ability to check a flag, like with a video, that you can actually sync the position of the GLB animation among different users using a server time. So if I go to say my if I go to like that model, there's no animation here, but if I check this synchronized animation time, this will actually synchronize an animation between multiple users in the same space. So which is useful if you have like an elevator. What else do I want to show you? I had a list. Yeah, so that's kind of like I think I just showed through the play settings for video. And then lighting, you can choose a directional light, a spotlight, or a point light. A directional light is like a sunlight. A spotlight is going to be something that's like aiming at, let me actually show you what a spotlight looks like. It's actually, again, it's like kind of annoying that you have to be in a second window. Let me turn off this video for a second. So I have this secondary light. I'm going to show the helper here. Oops. So, yeah, so that's like a little spotlight that's like very wide. I can, oops. Yeah, follow up with me if you have issues, and I will be more than glad to help you. I can make the angle smaller, and then you can see the angle of the light got a lot smaller. Now it's like a more narrow spotlight. I can make it lower. Let's say make it 10. And then you can choose like where it's angled at. Let's make it 0, 0, 0. So now I have this like light here. You can change the penumbra, which is really cool. So you can make it like softer, a softer light. Again, the more of these that you have, the slower it's going to run on people's computers. So like try to have only like a few lights in this space. You could also do bake lighting, which is another topic, not for today. You can choose how much it decays, and you can choose if it casts a shadow or not. Yes, we'll send documentation on like models and shadows and collisions and all that. What else do we have? Oh, another really cool thing is you can add a portal. So a portal is a element that can transport you either within a space or to another space. And what's cool is like you can have like a portal within a space that like when you walk in it, it'll transfer you somewhere else, or it'll move you to another space. It'll like transfer you to another space. You can choose like where you want it to drop them and where you wanted them to look at. You can also make it visible. You can have an invisible portal. So like someone could just walk in a portal and they're just like, oh wait, where did I go to? Pupilla, all these portals here are invisible. So they basically drew they made these things which are portals and are invisible. You don't actually see them, but inside of each of these is a portal. And another thing, these images are animated PNG, which we actually support. And to enable that, so for example, if I add another image, let me add another image 1 second. I can add a, and there's like an example of a PNG. So if I check is animated PNG, this will actually be a transparent animated PNG. It's a weird format that we didn't know about, but we found out about through Pupilla because they really wanted transparent images that had animations. So these are actually animated PNGs. And then the last thing I'll show, also a cool thing with the video, you can actually add a live stream, which I'm not going to really show the whole thing here, but basically we use a service called Mux, and it's basically like Twitch is an API, and we have an integration where if you give it like a Mux stream key and a playback ID, you can actually play back a live stream here. That's actually visible in Performance Dome, where I just like recorded like a music thing, and I have a simulated live stream running. This is like me. I do a lot of music stuff on the side. So this is just like a live stream streaming into this room, and you can have like a bunch of people in a live stream, and you can also break it up into different screens, like a normal video. And then the last thing is you can have a screen share. So I'm going to add a screen share. If I go to namespace B, where's the screen share now? Where did it go? Where did the screen share go? There it is. Let me make it bigger. I'm going to share a screen. I can share like the Discord. And you can, if you do a Chrome tab, then you can actually share audio from that Chrome tab. But if I just share this thing, then you'll see my Discord window being shared. And to stop sharing, you share here. Right now, anyone can share. We have eventually the ability to limit. You can only like limit certain users, but right now anyone can share. Yeah, basically Chrome tab, you could like, if I had like a Spotify playlist or something, I could like open Spotify and Chrome tab and play here, and it'll share the audio. Let's see, what other elements do we have? Oh, we have placards. So that's, you can add like a basic, you can add like, let me save it. For some reason the text is, oh yeah, so you have like a text here. You can add like any text. These are like all the different fonts you can choose. You can give it, sometimes it has to refresh to get the proper text. You can give it a frame with like the UX here has a bit to be desired, but you can see what's possible. We're going through a whole like UX rebuild because we just kept adding stuff as we needed to build spaces, but we really want to make this easier to use for anyone. So you can add like curatorial text, and you can also make it clickable. Like before, if you do interactable, then I can like click on that. Yeah. So placard is what we use a lot of the time for curatorial text. Anything else I want to add? Oh, another thing that's really great is grouping. So, right, let's say I want to, let's say I scale this down, or like I want to make this smaller, right? It didn't scale with everything. But what I can actually do, which is really cool, is I can drag everything under that model. I can drag everything under here. So you can move everything. And I can transport, I can do this, and everything scales together. Oops. It's confusing because it's all really small, but like you can scale the whole world together if it's all grouped properly. Sorry, this is like confusing because now I have like a mini world. And what's really cool is, okay, let's say I have, these things are all like scaled in here. If I move anything out of it, it'll preserve like the values in the global scene. Like it's still like I can scale it. All these scale, position, and rotation values were like transformed to be under its new parent. So grouping is a really good way of moving things together. But let's say I don't want to. Let's say I don't want to. Yeah, let's say I don't want to scale the reflector, but I just want to scale everything inside the model. Let's say I don't want to scale the light. I just want to scale what's in the model. Like I want to make the model bigger. So then that's just going to be scaled. Right, and the thing inside got scaled. So that's everything, I think. I mean, I went through it really fast, and I'm sure people have tons of questions. But that is it. Where our goal is to move all of this in the second screen into the other, so it's like all integrated. That's like what we're working on next. So bear with us while this UX can be a little bit challenging, but it's very powerful. And yeah, we want to integrate like wallets and stuff like that. And yeah. So yeah, does anyone have any questions? And I would love to help people get set up if they're having difficulties.
There would be questions later when we have an invite. Can we reach you somehow? So maybe some sort of communication on this channel or something.
Yeah, I'll be available for any questions for sure.
There's the architecture channel, MabLab, so I think we can use that to get to do questions. But yeah, if you want to have, yeah, if you have like any questions that can be answered like now, maybe like features or stuff that you want to know, yeah, go for it.
Someone asked, is there VR? We're discussing it. I think we want to have kind of like a solo VR viewing experience. The downside with VR is like there's no web camera, but we're discovering a lot of people in the scene don't really want their face to be seen anyway. So we're discussing how we could do some kind of VR support as like a either solo experience or even a shared experience where you just have like an image for your avatar. But that's definitely like, I think it'd be really cool to see these spaces in VR because they look really beautiful, a lot of them. It's a good question. Yeah, we've been asking, a lot of people have been asking us for it. So we're listening.
Is it possible to make interactions like can we put a button and trigger it?
People have asked us for that. We're looking in how we could do that. Like, for example, like the Pupilla people asked if they could, if you could press a button and it triggers the elevator or something. We have to figure out either a way to like, yeah, it's something we have to think about how we could design an interface around that would make it accessible for people to use, flexible it up. But thanks for the request on that. We'll look into that.
Thank you, Don. The editor really looks complicated and gives a lot of freedom. I wonder if in the future, do you think giving like scripting, 3GS scripting and coding possibilities? Like, can I code a simple, it's like a Murat's question, like coding and making simple games or simple interactive projects?
We want to have some sort of like SDK where you could drop in your own components into it. It's not on the near term, but I think long term, we definitely want people to be able to make custom interactivity.
It's great project, and I'm very excited about it and see the future upgrades. And I can't wait to start to build. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna actually write down all these things you're all asking for. A second, so I don't forget it. Yeah.
Any other questions? I know there's going to be quite a few once everybody kind of gets on the editorial, an editor, and tries it out. So also on that, just make sure that you, I think Aiden wrote like a thread. So if everybody can respond to that thread, first time somebody uses thread on this Discord, it's actually a really good tool. I should use it more. Yeah, so if you want to add your email there, then you can get access to it.
Cool.
I think well, for me, like one thing that attracted me to Arium when you guys launched was that it's very accessible. So my issue with like Metaverse, not issue, but like, you know, my kind of like blockage with Metaverse is that, for example, with Somnium or Crypto Voxels, like you have to have a login, you have to have a wallet, you have to connect, like there's a lot of steps. And to me, that was very daunting. Like when I first kind of for like the first 4 months that I was in the, you know, this whole space, I had never, like I kind of tried to go into the metaverse and then was like, okay, no, whatever, this is too complicated. So it was like so not accessible. So I think, you know, this is probably like one of the ways for people to like also experience art, digital art, like metaverse events in a way that feels a little bit more native to what is like the real world, and not have, you know, like big blockers to it. I think that's the reason why, you know, Christie's like used you guys, like it's a more like accessible way of experiencing metaverse, still with the whole, you know, with everything that is building inside it. So yeah, I really like it, but I think I'm biased.
Yeah, I'll paste my Twitter link after. Yeah, I think we try to make it like as easy to use. We want it to be, you know, we hope that we can bring more people into this space with our tools. You know, that's one of our goals. And yeah, I wanted to work on our goal is also to make it like you don't need a fast computer to run it. You don't need VR. Like, of course, VR would make the experience better for certain people. I mean, I love VR personally. But yeah, it's like very much about accessibility and immediacy and feeling like you're in the room together. And the whole live event, live programming and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, you know, like not a lot of people have, like for now, you know, VR headsets are very expensive. Like not a lot of people can have access to VR headsets. And even if, you know, sometimes like I for example get, you know, like a lot of comments saying like, yeah, if you see it in VR, it's like a whole different thing. Yeah, but I don't have VR, so I can't see it. So I need to experience it with, you know, what, like I would love to still be able to experience it, live in the metaverse and experience the metaverse, even if I don't have access to like whatever VR headset. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sorry,
Really
Ryan.
cool what you guys are up to. I have to say, I'm really impressed. I like how you're thinking about it from different elements and just small things about like how you could actually NFT the space that we create. Which I think that's a great idea. I haven't seen something like that yet.
We're trying to imagine what that would look like, actually. I mean,
It's amazing.
huh?
I think it would be groundbreaking. I think it's super cool.
I think this is
It's
a
just,
big,
I'm just curious what you guys think about, like, you know, someone buys Pupilla, right? It's a public space, right? Anyone can access it. What does it mean to own? I mean, I know that it's like a discussion. Let's say someone, a public space is minted. Anyone can access it. What does it mean to like own a public piece of artwork? Because if you think about it, like, I guess all of artwork right now in NFTs is public, so maybe there isn't a difference.
Well,
oh, sorry, go for it.
sorry,
Miko.
Ryan. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, that brings up the notion of what is an NFT. And we're seeing this so much in the metaverse right now, in terms of like people are making museums that look like normal museums to host NFTs, which are unique. So, what if a creator, designer, or artist were to just create the NFT as the museum? And it doesn't have to look like a museum. And I think it's about that extension and the experience. And I just see so much possibility, especially with the portals, is like, you know, you can then transfer yourself to like a deeper experience within that NFT, let's say, or maybe to like somebody else's NFT. So they link and they tell a narrative or a story.
That's really cool. That's a really cool way to
Yeah.
think about it, for sure.
Yeah. But also I feel like it's like, you know, if like the concept of like, why would you buy an NFT of a space is pretty much the same question of like, why would you buy an NFT in general? Like you can still see the NFTs on Hic et Nunc or whatever other platform, but I feel like it's almost like a proof of like have a proof of participation in a way. Like you can see it in that way, like I am buying like a part, and it can be like even fractionalized if you think about it. Like you can fractionalize your space and have like people buying into certain areas of it, maybe that are like more, I don't know, akin to the experience that they've had in the space. Maybe it's a tunnel, maybe it's like a certain artwork display. I don't know, whatever that looks like. And it's almost like, I think we've had this conversation offline as well, but it's almost like, your ticket to having participated in the event and you're buying into that. I mean, I love that, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept as a ticket, right? In a way, and patronage. It's like in a way, yeah.
Exactly. And also, it's yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wonder what other people think here. I'd love to hear what people think about this. 'Cause me and Dan talked about this for a bit.
I think
Well, I can talk about it.
Go for it,
Sorry.
Matt.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just was thinking that if you create 3D models and then you sell them as 2D art, the experience seems a bit restricted, and that's exactly what we're looking into Metaverse, like to extend the presence of our work. So we create 3D models, we create spaces, and then to be able to like to have the full extension of your work, not just like 2D representation of it. I think it's great. Yeah.
Because you could combine like not just the 3D model, but like the terrain and the sky and like the
Exactly,
lighting.
because that's exactly what we create in our work. We create like these forms, architectural forms and interfaces. So it's like space. We already create the space, and if we can sort of, that would be super great.
Mm. The question is, don't need to get into discussions, right? Like, is it important that the format itself, right, is metaverse agnostic, but we just load it into Arium? Like, because I don't know if you look at like on Cyber, for example, I don't think you can load it on Cyber Gallery in another platform, but like, is it important that if you mint a space in Arium, you would in theory be able to load it into another metaverse? Do you think that's important?
I feel that as we continue on, it's less and less important because being platform agnostic kind of opens our doors to more. And especially when you're doing things like you're talking about the portals, I could imagine that maybe the most important element would be to have some sort of bridge between the two. Like the portal could maybe take you to that on Cyber Gallery that also had a portal. So maybe there was like could be an industry standard API to link one metaverse to the other.
That's really cool. I love that idea. Interesting.
I mean, what do you guys think is like your creators like a collective shared environment? Like I get the feeling that I think what Miracle was saying earlier was like how you could like sell an NFT and it could be fractionalized, like there'd be different elements. What if like someone kind of started building something and then you just picked up where they left off and built a little bit of your own, or maybe you built like your own architecture next to Miracle's architecture, and just like that kind of environment just grew organically.
Sure, or like you can compose, you could like buy someone else's NFT of like a part of their space and integrate it into yours or something like that too. Like composability. Yeah. Interesting.
Do you guys have your own Discord channel yet?
We do. It's not that active, but I mean, we'd love for more people to be in there. If you guys would like to join, that would be great. We're not that good at promoting it, but we're trying to grow it. So I'll paste the link in the chat right now. 1 second.
I love, something that this is something that I just want to share with the group because, anyways, I'm very honest and everything, but I think, the way that Arium and you guys are approaching the space feels very organic, natural, very similar to how I've kind of approached the space. So I feel very keen to what you guys are building. It's I don't know. I think it's very you're constantly looking for feedback, listening, being very open. Also, for all of the people listening, Arium is not a open Metaverse. So they're giving us the chance to kind of build on it, which I think is amazing. And I don't know. I feel you, Dan, and Aiden, you're doing things very similar to the way that we've kind of built vertical crypto art, and I just feel very close to what you guys are doing because I think it's amazing, and I think this idea of minting spaces and minting exhibition spaces is groundbreaking, and you should definitely do it. 100%.
Okay. Thanks for the encouragement. Yeah. We really like working closely. It's been so amazing to work closely with artists and all these new people that we've discovered and building everything together. So we really it's really nice. So yeah.
Okay. Do we have any more questions or thoughts? Feel free to share the Discord so people can join. Oh, great. Perfect. And yeah, I think you have quite a few messages with emails for people to get access to the platform. So yeah, when Aiden or you can do that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we will email people links directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So if you don't have a link already, please follow that thread and add your email on there. And just in general, explore with the platform. I think an idea that I bounced around last time. We had this. We had this. I told you a few of you already, but basically, we're going to be doing a fundraising auction for the residency program, especially for this one and for the future ones at the end of August. So we'll be doing it on Arium. The space, the exhibition will be there. It's tight now, so I'm not gonna ask you all to build on Arium for it, but I think it would be really cool to do something for the end of the residency. So essentially an exhibition for you guys to exhibit your work that has been produced through this residency at the end of September. So I think to be able to experiment with it, start dabbing around with it, and then think about how this could come together potentially as a group exhibition in Arium would be super cool.
Yeah, maybe we could give everyone logins to the space and you could all place your artwork in there together the night before, which is a really fun experience. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, very glad to be involved here. So really nice to meet everyone.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone as always. And we'll keep chatting about this.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.